So anytime you're doing inspections on a piston engine aircraft, Lycoming or Continental, also Rotax, and maybe you have an old Franklin or even radials, you do have to check timing as well. And magnetos are adjusted by the way they're attached on the engine. In the case of a Lycoming, they're back here. You see that nut with the block? You loosen that. There's one on the top, there's one on the bottom. You loosen them just a little bit, and you actually get it to the point where you can move it back and forth until you know that it's making noise, doing whatever it should. Then you tighten it down some and you start tapping with a rubber mallet until you get just what you want to see on the timing light. And what you're setting that to is right here. Well, on a Lycoming there are 2 points. One is you set a straight edge right there on the crankcase parting flange, and you come up here forward, and on the flywheel, see if I can find anywhere where there's actually one of these marks, you will find stamped right into it marks that indicate top dead center, and also degrees before top center, which those have to do with your data plate on your engine, which on a Lycoming is down here on the side of the sump, and right there you're going to find your spark advance, and this comes out as 25 degrees before top center for this engine. And every model can be a little different, so always check the data plate. And I know one place I worked, the boss would only let us use this method for lining up where our spark advance timing mark should be, which on this aircraft there's your 25, and so we just need to get, usually I would take a pencil and I would actually mark that tooth, draw the line up, and then literally you just sight right over that on the parting flange. Now you want to use your straight edge so you don't get any issues with, parallax or anything like that. Now, I would normally use a ruler. This is just something I happen to have handy that I grabbed. But you just basically sight right down that, and now you could tell as soon as you're at 25, put your timing light on, get your line up, then you move the engine back and forth. However, some aircraft, that doesn't work because of baffling. This is an RV8, and just the way they decided to make the wire bundle run and this baffle, I cannot use that lined up on this flywheel because of stuff in the way. But Lycoming is smart, just like whoever the mechanic was, which might have been me because I think I did this last year as well, who took the time to take a marker or pen and actually extend the marks down onto this. And you see that little dot back there on the starter. Lycoming starters, this is a lightweight one. The older, heavier weight ones don't have this extra capacitor, I think, or something on the side. But basically they work just like most cars, where there's a throw out, basically the centrifugal force, there's a mechanism in here that's spring loaded, and it gets thrown out and engages the teeth, and then when the engine catches, or just the RPM, it also has an unlatch, and it spring loads back. If the battery dies while you're cranking, it will stay engaged. There's teeth up inside of there. Yeah, you can just see them back inside of there. And so you need to line up, and in this case we're looking at 25, so we'd want to go basically like that. Now, of course, when you're looking at your propeller, you want to actually be coming onto it and go past it, just to make sure there's no impulse couplings that are going to cause trouble in the bottom. So to find top center on number 1, I have stuck top spark plug back in. Bottom plug is not in, so that spark plug hole is open. Put your finger over it, and that's just that easy. So here we go. fingers in the hole again. Now if you can hear that air sound, that means you're coming up on number 1. You want to go past top center. Yep, there we go. Impulse coupling just snapped, so now it's unloaded. If you understand anything about the theory of magnetos, impulse couplings delay the turning of the magneto so that when it's cranking really slow on the starter, there's no advance on the spark. Instead, it's actually it's snapping, which means it's turning at a faster velocity than the starter can produce because of springs in the impulse coupling. And it's also firing at top center, or possibly even slightly after it, so that when it fires, it won't give an impulse to turn the propeller backwards, it will only go forwards. So I believe on this aircraft we only have 1 impulse coupling, and we just heard it snap. And then once we've found that, we want to get a nice straight look on that hole on the starter, and you want to be hitting the skinny side of the prop, the side that you normally don't want to be pushing against, because that's the side that will cause things to fire and spin and maybe start the engine when you really didn't mean for it to, and maybe lose some fingers or your life or something. So we don't want to normally do that. All right, so we go back past it a little bit because there's going to be gear lash in the engine between all the accessory drive gears that drive the magnetos inside the back of the engine. 25 is our first mark there. Connect up our mag timing light. Black goes to just the crankcase somewhere. Red and green go to P-lead connections on the magnetos, and literally just clip on right over the wires that are there. And if you're doing this, like I have all the plugs out of the engine, so it can't fire and start up on me while I'm doing this. Plus it would be wicked hard to turn if the plugs were all in it. But you do need to make sure you set the magneto switch to both, which means both are not grounded, because when you turn it to off, they're both grounded. But when they're in both, that is opening the P-lead circuit, so now the magneto is not grounded and will fire. And that's what the test light needs, the test box needs, to actually create a path. Because the theory inside the magneto is that the distributor gear is lined up, the points are open, and that's when the timing light will actually sense that this is creating a path that a spark would normally follow, and you're timing it correctly. Okay, so now we actually get to the timing. So here we're gonna, with our timing light connected to both mags, master switch set to both. Wow, okay, right mag is really early. See about left. Alright, they're both early. Alright, so what you do then is shut that annoying buzz off before you launch it across the hangar, and line up your propeller to where you are happy with everything being lined up exactly as it should be. Then you're going to loosen up that nut that I showed you before. That, wow, somebody did that tight, holds the magneto on. I wonder if that was me last year or was it somebody else. See this difference in sound because the P-lead wire came disconnected. Alright, so we got to get, alright, so when we clip it on again, you can hear the change in pitch. Alright, so that right there is light on. Now we want to go right to where we're light out. Hear the difference in noise there. So you always want to be coming from light on to light out, because that indicates you're taking out your gear lash in the normal direction of rotation of the accessories section and magneto. Then we're gonna tighten the nut down just a little so we can't spin it by hand anymore. but not so that it's clamped down firmly in place. And then we use the rubber mallet. That's why you probably had to get one in your A&P school. And the reason we have to do this every year is because the points, they're actually eroding from the spark jumping across them every year, and possibly the electrode as well inside the distributor, because every time you make an electrical arc, a couple molecules of metal go with the spark. And after a little bit of adjustment, got it here. Now, don't go exactly by what the camera is showing you. I don't think it's not seeing it the same angle that I am. Because to me, alright, we get it's right and left. And they're so close, I'm going to call it good. And so now you've timed a Lycoming engine using the markings on the flywheel and the starter and the test light, and everything is good. And probably when you go out and run it, you're going to have very slight mag drops, which is what you want to see.